Have you ever felt as though you are observing the world through a different kind of glass? Not distorted, but perhaps more sensitive to the light, more attuned to the subtle vibrations that others seem to miss. This is a familiar feeling for those who identify with the INFJ personality type, a sense that their internal world operates on a frequency that is profoundly out of sync with the rhythm of the everyday. They navigate life with a quiet intensity, a depth of feeling, and a way of seeing connections that can be both a remarkable gift and a source of deep, unspoken isolation. For years, this feeling of being different was often internalized as a flaw, a personal failing to fit in or keep up. But what if this unique wiring is not a defect, but a design? What if the INFJ brain, in its very structure and function, mirrors patterns that are now being more widely understood within the conversation of neurodivergence? This term, which encompasses conditions like autism, ADHD, and sensory processing disorders, describes minds that diverge from the typical neurological path. It is a framework that moves beyond judgment and into understanding. To be clear, this exploration is not about assigning a diagnosis. An INFJ is not, by definition, neurodivergent. Rather, it is about building a bridge of understanding. It is about recognizing that the profound sensitivities and unconventional thought processes of the INFJ resonate deeply with the experiences of the neurodivergent community. By examining these parallels, we can offer clarity and comfort to those who have long wondered why they feel so different. It is an invitation to cease fighting against one's own nature, and instead, to begin appreciating the rare and beautiful architecture of a mind built for depth. Let us begin with the very rhythm of thought itself. Research using EEG scans has revealed something remarkable about the INFJ brain when it is deeply engaged. In a state of focused problem-solving or profound reflection, it does not simply activate one or two specialized regions. Instead, it ignites in a pattern described as whole brain synchronization. Imagine an orchestra where, instead of the strings or the brass taking the lead, every single instrument begins to play in perfect, harmonious unison. This is the INFJ mind at its most potent, a symphony of logic, emotion, and sensory data, all working as one. This synchronized state is strikingly similar to the unusual patterns of brain activation, sometimes observed in neurodivergent individuals, where thinking is not a linear march, but a holistic, all-encompassing experience. This explains why an INFJ's insights can seem to appear from nowhere. They are not pulling from a single thread of logic, but weaving together a tapestry from countless disparate sources simultaneously. This makes them natural big-picture thinkers, drawn to complex human systems, philosophical questions, and creative challenges that require a fusion of heart and mind. However, conducting this internal orchestra is immensely draining. The energy required to hold so many connections at once is significant, which is why INFJs experience profound mental fatigue and require periods of complete solitude to recharge. This need for withdrawal is not antisocial behavior, it is a neurological necessity. It is the silence between the musical notes, the quiet required to allow the symphony to process, to rest, and to prepare for its next composition. Understanding this is the first step to honoring, rather than resisting, the natural rhythm of the INFJ mind. Now let us turn to the world of emotion. For the INFJ, feelings are not merely internal states, they are tangible forces in the environment. They possess a form of deep empathy that goes beyond simple compassion. They do not just recognize another's sadness or joy. They often absorb it, feeling it in their own bodies as if it were their own. This heightened emotional sensitivity is a cornerstone of the INFJ experience and mirrors the intense affective responses often described by neurodivergent people, particularly those who are highly sensitive. An INFJ can walk into a room and instantly sense the unspoken tensions, the hidden anxieties, the quiet joys. This constant stream of emotional data is processed with the same intensity as any other thought. While this ability makes them incredibly insightful friends, counselors, and artists, it also means they carry an emotional weight that is not always their own. Without strong boundaries, they are at risk of becoming overwhelmed, leading to a state of emotional burnout where they must retreat from the world simply to find themselves again. This emotional radar often short-circuits under pressure. In moments of high stress, noise, or social expectation, an INFJ may suddenly shut down, freeze, or become tearful. To an outsider, this can be mistaken for being overly dramatic or fragile. In reality, it is a nervous system overload, a circuit breaker flipping to prevent further damage. It is the same survival mechanism that many neurodivergent individuals employ when faced with overwhelming sensory or emotional input. It is not a weakness, but a sign that the system is trying to protect itself. The great strength of this sensitivity is emotional accuracy. INFJs can articulate the nuances of a feeling that others struggle to name. They offer a presence that is profoundly healing because they are not just guessing what another person needs. They are, on some level, feeling it with them. To protect this gift, they must learn to treat their emotional well-being as a priority. This means recognizing the signs of saturation, having the courage to say no, and curating a life that allows for the quiet and peace their nervous system requires to stay in balance. INFJs are not generalists. They are specialists of the soul. Their curiosity leads them down deep, narrow paths of passion. They do not simply dabble in subjects. They immerse themselves, driven by an insatiable need to understand a chosen topic from its core. This intense, sustained focus on what are often called special interests is a hallmark trait of many neurodivergent people, especially those on the autism spectrum. For the INFJ, these interests are not mere hobbies. They are anchors of meaning in a world that can often feel chaotic. Whether it is psychology, ancient philosophy, social justice, or a form of artistic expression, when an INFJ connects with a subject that resonates with their values, time seems to dissolve. Hours feel like minutes as they read, create, and explore. This state of deep engagement is not forced. It is the most natural state for their mind. It provides a sense of order, purpose, and identity. This is why many INFJs build their entire lives, from careers to personal projects, around these foundational passions. Without them, they feel adrift. The challenge, however, arises when they are forced to engage with tasks that feel devoid of meaning. Repetitive, shallow, or purely administrative work can be profoundly draining, leading to procrastination and a sharp drop in motivation. This is not a matter of laziness, but of neurological wiring. Their brain is designed for emotional and intellectual engagement. When that connection is absent, the engine of their focus simply will not start. This often leads to being misunderstood in conventional school or work environments that demand uniform effort across all tasks. While it may not always be visible, many INFJs experience a heightened sensitivity to their physical environment. This is not a matter of preference but of nervous system response. Bright fluorescent lights, persistent background noise, strong artificial smells, or the chaotic energy of a dense crowd can quickly trigger a state of overstimulation. This sensory sensitivity is a core feature for many neurodivergent individuals, and for INFJs, it means their external world is processed with the same depth and intensity as their internal one. A sudden loud noise can feel physically jarring. The texture of a particular fabric can be a source of constant, low-level irritation. The visual clutter of a messy room can make it impossible to think clearly. These are not choices, they are involuntary reactions. This reality profoundly shapes their daily life, leading them to subconsciously avoid certain environments or to feel utterly exhausted after activities that others find simple, like a trip to the grocery store. Recognizing this is crucial, for it is often a hidden stressor that depletes their limited energy reserves. The INFJ mind rarely moves in a straight line. It spirals, it connects, it leaps. This nonlinear thinking process is not random. It is an advanced form of pattern recognition. Instead of analyzing data sequentially, the INFJ brain takes a wide-angle view, absorbing disparate pieces of information, past experiences, emotional cues, abstract concepts, and intuitively weaving them into a coherent whole. This is why they often just know things without being able to articulate the step-by-step logic that led them there. Their conclusions arise from a complex internal synthesis that is difficult to translate into linear language. While seen as wise and insightful, many INFJs harbor a private struggle with what is known as executive function. This cognitive skill set, which includes planning, organizing, managing time, and initiating tasks, can feel like a constant battle. They may possess a grand, detailed vision for the future, but find themselves paralyzed when it comes to taking the first practical step. This disconnect between their rich inner world and their external actions is a source of immense frustration and mirrors the executive function challenges common in those with ADHD and other neurodivergent profiles. Finally, the INFJ's social world is defined by a distinct preference that echoes the neurodivergent experience. A deep-seated need for meaningful connection over casual interaction. They do not avoid people, they avoid superficiality. Small talk and large, unstructured group events can feel excruciatingly draining because their mind is wired for depth, authenticity, and purposeful exchange. They would rather have 1-2-hour conversation about the nature of life than attend a party filled with fleeting pleasantries. This often leads them to be perceived as aloof or mysterious, when in fact they are simply conserving their energy for what truly matters. This selective social engagement means that while INFJs may feel lonely at times, they are not truly antisocial. They are selectively social. They are guardians of their inner world, granting access only to those who have earned their trust and demonstrated a willingness to meet them in a place of authenticity. When they do find their people, the bond is incredibly strong, loyal, and life-giving. Understanding this pattern allows them to stop judging their need for solitude and to start curating a social life that honors their design, one built on the solid foundation of quality over quantity. The architecture of the INFJ brain is a testament to the beautiful diversity of human consciousness. Its preference for holistic thinking, its profound emotional resonance, and its need for depth are not flaws to be corrected, but characteristics to be understood and embraced. The parallels with neurodivergent patterns offer a powerful new lens, one that replaces judgment with curiosity and self-criticism with self-compassion. Your mind is not broken. It is a finely tuned instrument built for a different kind of music. The more you learn to listen to its unique rhythm and honor its needs, the more you will unlock its extraordinary capacity for insight, creativity, and connection. If these words have brought you a measure of clarity, perhaps they can do the same for another. Consider sharing this journey of understanding, and may it bring peace to all who are listening.